Hey everybody, Secrets to Winning Podcast is back here, maybe for our last episode of the year. And I hope you go in and have a wonderful holiday season. I'm Dr. Bhrett McCabe, and this podcast has evolved over the years where it's allowed me to take a look a little bit deeper at what helps elite performers succeed, get over the top. And, everybody comes to see me for a reason. And so I have the greatest job there is. I get to spend an exorbitant amount of time with athletes competing, sacrificing, fighting through whatever they're going through in their life. That's why I wrote the book, Break Free from Suckville. So if you haven't picked up a copy, make sure you do, because it's exactly why people come to see me. You can go to BhrettMcCabe.com and look under the products guide and the books guide, and you'll see Break Free from Suckville. I'm telling you, it's a great book for anybody in your life, but for anybody who's trying to compete and succeed. So I wanted to take today's podcast and talk about something that I may have alluded to in the past, and I may even covered it in a podcast. But just recently, I've had the opportunity to do a little bit more speaking on coaching today's athlete, the 21st century athlete, and the challenges. I've spoken to the Women's Golf Coaches Association. I've worked with different organizations and coaches. And I recently came back from a presentation from USADA, which is the United States Anti-Doping Agency. Pretty hefty organization where we collaborated with Olympic athletes to look at the mental health burden of our athletes and what we can do as coaching. And I got asked a question. And the question was this: Doc, you've been around some of the best coaches to ever do their sport. Skip Bertman at LSU baseball, 5 national titles in 10 years. And Coach Nick Saban, 6 national titles in, 10 years, 11 years? So it's got me thinking about what are the consistencies. And I don't know many coaches, many people in my field, or many people in the athletic circle who've actually had the experiences that I've had to be around both of those gentlemen. Now, obviously, Coach Bertman coached at LSU and had a very long tenured run. Coach Saban started out, won his first national title at LSU, where my coach ended up becoming his athletic director. And then Coach left for the NFL and then returned back to college football at the University of Alabama, where I currently work and serve as the sports and clinical psychologist for the entire athletic department. And that includes football. So I get to see the fingerprints, the processes that are in place at each of these programs. And I want to share with you a couple similarities, common trends that these two coaches impart and employ. First things first. Both are brilliant at what they do, and both have their own system, their process. And those are factors that go beyond what most coaches say of just follow the process, just trust it. Because for both of these individuals, the process, the system, is not just lip service. It is bred through and through to every element and fabric of that organization, to the deepest parts, to the most important parts of that organization. Everybody in that organization knows what the process is. There isn't time to question. And it's not just do what you said you're going to do because that's what the process said. It's bigger than that. Coach Bertman used to say, by the time you leave me, you will have a PhD in baseball. By the time players leave Coach Saban, they have a PhD in football. They know not only what to do, they know why to do it. And they know the rationale behind that decision-making process. Both of these coaches actively coach. Coach Bertman was our pitching coach. Coach Saban still works with the defense and the defensive backs. He is actively coaching on the field within a position group. Coaches, you'll never be so big that you need to divest your active coaching. If you're a manager of an organization, if you're a coach, it doesn't matter. Get down at the level where people are learning. Do not sit in an ivory tower and overlook everybody doing their work. Get down and get your hands dirty working with people. Both of these coaches coach everyone in the organization, whether it's administrators, other coaches, staff. Everybody has the right to be coached, and everybody deserves the full amount of information. Nobody is held back. And what that means is there's nobody on the team that doesn't deserve to be coached. There's nobody in the program that doesn't deserve to know what's going on. And most importantly, there's a full commitment regardless of playing time. Players don't get treated differently. They may have an evolved relationship, but they get the full process with both of those coaches. And to make matters even deeper with that, every player on the team has a distinct role. And it may be if you're a bench warmer, it's okay. You know your role. And your role may be to prepare players for the big moments. It may be to prepare players for challenges. It may be to break down film, whatever it is. And even though that player may desire and believe that they should play more, the truth of the matter is they know their role in that moment. These coaches are not ignoring those players. They're not holding back. They're not staying away from what they're doing. They're not like, I'll deal with those guys later. They are coaching them as much as the players right in front of them that are playing all the playing time. Coach Bertman and Coach Saban don't stop or get pride with victories. Now, do they enjoy them? Absolutely. But the true thing is, when there's a victory, they dial in even more. See, for both of these coaches, success often creates an anxiety, a psychological drive that they need more, that they want more, and that they use that motivation, that anxiety, to dial in even more significantly. It's more. But they also coach more after victories than they do losses. See, you're going to lose things in your life. And as a leader, that's the time where most of us want to dial in and get to work, and we get frustrated and angry and we just keep going. But the truth of the matter is, many times when your players have lost, they already know. And they feel bad enough as it is. So Coach Bertman and Coach Saban, I've been around them after losses. It's not that they raise their voices and go on these fire and brimstone speeches that their fans and message boards want them to be. Instead, that's when they connect better to their players. But in victories, that's when they teach more. They reinforce the points that you better not get comfortable with the successes that you have, and you better demand more as a player. Both of these coaches have been heavily invested in the mental game, long before people in their field, in the coaching ranks, were ever invested in it. Before it was the cool thing to do, they were doing it when no one else knew what they were doing. At LSU baseball, we used to have the Yellow Book meetings. Coach Saban has film review, but they actively engage and communicate the pillars and processes that are important in the mental game. It's not just, oh yeah, that's the mental game off to the side. And I've never heard them one time say, well, the player's not performing well, it must be all mental. Never heard them say that. What I've actually heard them say is, I've got to do a better job communicating and coaching to this player. I'm not reaching them. They own that responsibility. Both of these coaches live in the areas where others hate to work. What a distinct competitive advantage. Where others struggle, they flourish. Think about that for a minute. They take that time and that energy, and they live where players, coaches, and competitors struggle. They see the hardest, and they master it. That's a distinct advantage. Finally, one of the things I think is unique and different, both of these coaches are active learners. Every time I've given a talk to the Alabama football team, spoke with the LSU baseball team, or was sitting in the audience, those coaches, Coach Bertman and Coach Saban, sat in the front row. They actively took notes. They wanted to learn. But even more than that, they showed to their team the importance of paying attention, and they modeled the behavior. They didn't sit in the back and assume that, oh, so-and-so's here, I'm going to let you guys talk. They were active in the process from the beginning. the two greatest coaches to ever coach their sports. I've spent over 15 years combined in both of their programs. I know what it takes to succeed. I've watched it firsthand with them. I could write a whole book about these two, and maybe one day I will. But there is a notebook I have of the lessons and the learnings from the greatest coaches. Maybe I'll continue this pattern in 2021. If you like this podcast, make sure you let me know. Drop us a line, and I'll keep shining a light on what the best coaches and competitors do. This is Dr. Bhrett McCabe. Let's get ready for 2022, and let's kick its butt.